Hello and welcome to the Cosmo Parenting Podcast, brought to you by the CMM Institute for Personal and Social Evolution. In this space, we invite you to see yourself as someone who is curious about and actively participating in creating your own meaning around parenting. This is our Animate episode, where we offer some strategies to integrate into parenting so you can bring to life the things we talk about here on the podcast. Let's begin. Today, I am joined once again by gifted educator Stephanie Higgs to offer us a best practice from an educator's perspective. Hello, Stephanie.
Hey, Abbie.
So, Stephanie, we've spent this month discussing order and chaos. What's the strategy you're offering us for this theme?
The overarching idea that I want us to think about together today is the idea of regulation and dysregulation. Some of us automatically think that dysregulation only involves those negative feelings, emotions, attitudes, and behaviors. The reality is that dysregulation can also involve overstimulation, being super excited because we just ate a giant sugary cupcake, or unable to sleep because tomorrow is our favorite holiday. Anything outside of that calm, regulated state is dysregulation, and it might change what we need in any given moment. I saw a post on social media that just immediately gave me empathy for every parent and caregiver out there. And it was talking about, when a parent or a caregiver raises their voice at a child, a lot of times that is really a signal that that adult is not having their needs met and that they are dysregulated. And so, they're lashing out more than they mean to, or that there's more of an emotional response than they would ideally be giving in that moment. But it really is just such a signal of kind of an underlying issue in their own dysregulation, that perhaps whatever this child has just done has really kind of been, kind of the icing on the cake there. Um, but I love that idea of just really thinking about where we all have moments of dysregulation and what we need in those moments, and that also that dysregulation may be a sign that our needs are not being met. And so it's this idea of what are a couple of mindful practices that I can rely on in any dysregulated moment. Whether it's, I'm so excited, I'm graduating high school today, and I have to find a way to sit through the ceremony before I get to go to the fun celebration. Or maybe it's the opposite. I'm super angry and stressed out. How do I regulate so that I can make more clear and thoughtful decisions? Mindfulness strategies help all of us reach a more regulated state. There are tons you can research online, such as square breathing, grounding practices, etc. But one I'd love to share with you today is appropriate for kids and adults. And my favorite aspect of this self regulation tool is that it's discreet. You can do this at your office, and your kids can do this in the classroom. It's a counting strategy. When trying to self regulate, you can challenge yourself to count how many of a specified shape you can see nearby, or even a color. For example, how many circles can I see from where I'm standing? How many red objects are in this room? One other object for further exploration is to Google digital calming rooms. We'll include in the show notes a link to my favorite, which features a curation of several. Whether you're watching a tank of jellyfish or looking at an eagle's nest, shifting your mind's focus away from the cause of dysregulation can bring a sense of calm.
I love this practice that you're offering us and how you're shifting my thinking even about order and chaos. That yes, there can be order and chaos externally in our lives, in our relationships, in our homes, but oftentimes that's a reflection of chaos happening internally within our own minds and bodies and hearts. And so it's great to have a practice that can help us tend to both of those. This makes me want to share a little about my own experience too. I exist in my head a lot, I feel like, as in I try to intellectualize things. So when I'm feeling dysregulated, my first instinct is to try to reason or logic my way through it or out of it by telling myself why actually everything is okay or I shouldn't be feeling how I feel. But how I would say it is that my body doesn't speak that same language. Logic and reason don't usually reach our physiology. So these practices like deep breathing, holding a cool ice cube in your hand or on your face, that's a favorite one of mine that a friend taught me, or body scans, like we talked about during the conflict theme. All these things that get you out of your head and into your body are incredibly powerful tools. So the way through a moment of chaos is not always to think your way through it or control your way through it, but to feel our way through it and really tend to our physical experiences of a moment.
Abbie, you say things beautifully, but one of my favorites was when you mentioned during that previous episode the ability to sort of read and listen to the language of our body. I just thought that was such a beautiful and kind of poetic way to say that. But I think that a lot of us, as fast as we're moving in, these current years in the 2020s, I think life moves at such a quick pace that oftentimes it can be really challenging to be, attuned to your entire body, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional. And so I just think that this is such a great reminder for us to employ some of these routines and strategies to keep our bodies a little bit more regulated, as well as our minds and our emotions.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me today, Stephanie. And thank you to everyone listening for joining us as well. You can connect with Stephanie on Instagram at Little Miss Gifted, and you can check out our other Cosmo activities and additional resources at www.cosmoactivities.com. We're so grateful to be on this journey with you, and we'll see you next week for the final episode of the month, where we will talk communication on the theme of order and chaos.